Speaking of boss bitches, you know what I'm saying? Because Jay was talking about, oh, she's a head of HR or whatever. She was a boss bitch. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, she was moving like a boss bitch, dude. You know what I'm saying? She was an ugly one, but a boss bitch nonetheless, right? But it's funny because the dude who married her, right, was what? Was he a alpha? Was he a beta? Because listen, men are saying that some of y'all boss bitches are too much man for them. You know what I'm saying? You're like, he's also man enough for me. Bitch, you're too much man for me. Like, what's going on? That's what dudes are saying in the clip that we saw. There was one clip where the dude was like, how can women make space for a man when they become the man they want, or something like that, right? And the wonderful sister had an opportunity to kind of explain that, hey, sometimes women who are male-driven feel sometimes can't turn it down when they get to the crib, okay? So the question I posed to my esteemed panel, right, when it comes to boss bitches, because remember, not every bitch is a bad, not every bitch is a bad bitch, that's true, but also is a boss. So what do y'all think specifically around the perception of boss bitches, right? Are they looked at unfairly? Is it possible that men are sitting there making assumptions that these women, because they're successful in their fields, can't be soft, can't be feminine at home? Is it an unfair assumption? Or is it in fact true that unfortunately women are displaying skills or, traits that make men feel like, there's too much man here already, I'm good? What are y'all thoughts about that?
I'll jump off the mic. So I'm just going to say this. I think that sometimes first off, I think we need to stop calling a confident woman masculine just because she's confident and has purpose and know what her purpose is and she's driven to fulfill that purpose. I don't think that equals masculine energy or her being the man that she wanted to date because she chose to live within and strive within her purpose. And so that's the first thing. Like, let's stop that. Let's stop calling confidence masculine or because she consider herself a boss bitch masculine. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that sometimes these boss bitches don't know how to turn it off when they get home. Not taking away from that because sometimes she may be in the boardroom, the boss, and want to be the boss in the bedroom. Some men may not like that, but other men may. So I think that we're doing a disservice when we're saying, oh, boss bitches are too masculine and whatnot. I don't think her ambition should be a threat, unless your ego is a little fragile. And then I can see why her being a boss bitch would be considered a threat to you. So I think that in the end, though, women, we can be soft, and I think that because we can be soft, it just takes the right person to bring the softness out. Because naturally, we want to submit. We just need to submit to the right one.
Once again, S&M is gaslighting everyone in the room with her first thing about just because you're confident doesn't mean that you can't be confident and you're going to be masculine. Whatever. You can be confident and be a human being. That is not a gender masculine, feminine thing. When we talk about masculinity and we talk about femininity, we're talking about dominance. We're talking about setting the tone, setting the agenda for the relationship and for what's going to happen, setting the vision and making sure that vision is followed through. Those are the masculine aspects that men find some women have a hard time giving up in terms of the finances, in terms of the planning of whether it be for vacations or for future things. It's hard for some women to give over the reins because they want someone to wrestle it from them. And we ain't got time for all of that. If you can't recognize the leadership in the dude and hand him the reins, then he's not the right dude. And man, if you fighting that lady for control, that's a whole different conversation. So you can't be too bossed up. You can, because you can go to your job and be a boss. My wife at her job is a boss. When my wife comes home, she is not the boss because she don't even want to be the boss because she done bossed out at work and she'd like to come home and let somebody else be boss. So I know you can have balance. You can be a boss, and be balanced. But you have to understand that ambition is not masculine. Courage, confidence, they are not masculine. They are traits of success. And we should all strive to be successful. What we should not all strive to be is overly dominant or assertive in the pace and the direction of our relationships and our environments. One person going to have to decide which way it's going. That's what I'm saying. So some of y'all need to tone it down. Tone it down, ladies. Two people can't do the same job. I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. If I get on the bus and there's somebody already in the driver's seat driving the bus, I have no choice but either to kick them out that seat or go take a seat somewhere else. If you want a man to drive your bus, get out of the driver's seat. How about that?
You said that, so I appreciate the fact that you define what qualities and characteristics that you do not view as masculine. But in the general world, those are viewed as masculine traits because that's what we've been socialized to believe. While you may not, and some of the panelists may not view it that way, in the general world, that is the way. Because that's why when we are assertive, we're called aggressive. That's why when we portray ourselves a certain way, we're deemed a bitch. As a matter of fact, sometimes when we're being assertive, we're called a bitch for being assertive. So for you to say that those traits don't equate to masculinity, actually, in today's society and in the past society, those traits were considered masculine traits. You can look up traditional masculine traits and you'll see those traits listed: confidence, courage, bravery, because women weren't expected to have confidence, courage, or bravery, or any of those things. But I appreciate the fact that you are an enlightened individual and have identified, for you in particular, those are the traits you're talking about. Now, when we talk about the drive and the vision, I'm hoping that while you have the drive and the vision, that you're also taking in her input, because if you're a leader, you should also want her input so that y'all can have this together, right? You can make the final decision all you want, but at least get her input. That's all I'm saying in regards to that. But I just want to push back a little bit on where the characteristics that you define, when traditionally those characteristics were considered masculine. And it's only now that we're being gender fluid that we're now saying, hey, those are not masculine traits. And women have been saying that those are not masculine traits.
She bakes your biscuits, Jay. Your biscuits.
No. Let me push back on her. Push back real quick. So you said that when women are assertive, they get called a bitch, as though bitch is what you call an assertive person. I push back because when a man calls another man a bitch, he's calling him anything but assertive.
But that's because you're using the gender norms. So when a man I'm saying you're using the gender norms, even though you think you're doing nonconformity, but you're actually using the gender norms. So when you call somebody a bitch, you're insulting them because you're calling them a female dog. But when they call a female a bitch because she's been assertive or aggressive, it's because they already viewed her, the dog part is already in there, but it's like, oh, she's being a real bitch and then they'll say, oh, she got an attitude. She's being a real bitch. So I'm just saying that, yes, for men, when you call it, you basically say, oh, you like a female. But for women, when they use that term, when they say, oh, she's being a bitch, it's in a derogatory manner. It's because she's already a female, but because she's now being assertive and she's asserting herself, now she's overstepping her boundaries. And so this is a way for men to put that woman back into her place by calling her a derogatory term that would be negative if it's called to a guy as well.
Fight back, Jay. One more time. Fight back. You got anything? Okay. Ding.
No. Let him in. Let him in. Let him in. Let him in.
Let him win. No, she took that. We're not going to do that. I see you have sitting there. Tia. No.
So I speak towards this from personal experience. Just being 5'11", just being a Black woman, just being educated, just having a degree, just being from a certain area where we talked very direct and straightforward without a lot of fluff. I encounter men who, even in just general conversation, sometimes you're like, are you always this aggressive? And I'm like, am I always this straightforward? Yes, I'm a direct person. I think that the sense that being straightforward and direct or making a lot of money is masculine is shaped in a lot of things that precede us, right? Gender, social norms, relationship norms, things that people think that are masculine that women are now more than capable of succeeding at, right? Women weren't CEOs, women weren't six-figure makers and, millionaires on their own up until a certain point. And so I think that now society thinking that these things are a sign of masculinity is just kind of speaking towards that. But really, I was just going to post the other day, like a real leader doesn't have to ever ask for a woman to submit. Because when a woman submits, you're already doing it. If she's not, then that's probably not the person for you. Because if you're showing up the way you need to, it's easy for me to sink in. Because like S&M said, I don't want to go to work and be the boss and come home and be the boss too. There's a point in our lives when we choose to be in a soft girl space and we deserve to have that moment. And with our partner, that's where it should be. So instead of all it really boils down to insecurity. The men that I've dated, if they're shorter, if they make less money, there's an issue of insecurity and it becomes the who's the man type thing. And it's like, well, if you have to ask me, then that's the problem because I'm very clear, or else I wouldn't be with you. So I think people get it mistaken. Success does not equal masculinity. Money does not equal masculinity, but character, right? I am who I am. You're going to accept me for who I am or not because somebody else wants it. And I think that's where people fall off.